r/nosleep. Posted by u/GasStationJack. Happy Halloween from the gas station. The girl in the fox costume shook her head. I feel like you guys are screwing with me. This conversation had already taken up too much time. I needed to let everyone else know what was coming. I left Jerry in charge and went to grab the store phone. He was always better at talking to people than I was, anyway. While the rest of the room ping-ponged between different versions of I don't believe it, and you better believe it, I dialed the sheriff's station, acutely aware of how sad it was that I already had the number memorized. The sheriff's department in our town has always had a single employee specifically designated as the gas station babysitter, but the current title holder had recently suffered an attack of temporary insanity his first week into the job. Last I heard, they found his cruiser in Mexico a couple days after his episode, and the deputy himself is still officially missing in action. Compared to some of the others who came before him, I'd say he got off easy. Sheriff O'Brien was still searching for someone to replace him. In the meantime, I had to dial the sheriff department directly for any and all emergencies. I was convinced the woman in charge of answering phones hated me by now, and as it continued to ring, I had to wonder if she was screening the call, or if there was another reason nobody could pick up the phone. Jerry slid up next to me and whispered, "Okay dude. I've been talking to Lucy, and I think I've convinced her to stick around for the rest of the night." Lucy? The fox. I looked over to see Lucy wearing a doctor's mask and holding the other emergency flashlight. She flicked it on and pointed the red light at the ceiling. "Oh, cool. Good. But listen, before things get any crazier, there's something really important I need to tell you. And I hope you're not going to be mad." I hung up the phone. It had been ringing for over a minute without any answer. "What's up?" I asked, sensing that I wasn't going to like the answer. Right then, we heard the toilet flush. I pointed my flashlight at the bathroom door as it creaked open, spilling a sliver of light into the hallway. A man emerged, holding his cell phone in front of him with the flashlight turned on. "Hey, yo. What happened to the power?" He looked out at the room, then added, "Is this a costume party?" He was thin, sporting blue jeans and a navy polo a couple sizes too big. He had dark skin and beard stubble, a confused expression on his face, and a name tag pinned over his chest that read Bart. It took me a second to recognize him as one of our alcohol vendors. At first, I was annoyed. This guy's presence meant I was going to have to explain the Mayfly history to another out-of-towner. But that concern was quickly leapfrogged by another, more pressing issue. He was heading for the front door. "Wait a second," Abram said, trying to step into his path. Bart sidestepped the old man with ease and grace like it was a rehearsed dance move, saying, "Sorry, I have to get back on the road." "Hang on," I shouted. But he wasn't slowing. "I'm behind schedule and have 3 more stops to make tonight." "Wait." I tried. But he was already at the door. He pushed it, but the lock stopped it from opening. In one last bout of desperation, I pointed at him and yelled, "Jerry! Stop him!" Jerry crossed the distance to where Bart was awkwardly peeling away strips of duct tape. With a running start, he plowed into the vendor and tackled him into a display of bagged pork rinds. "Jesus!" screamed Abram. I rushed over to Bart's side as Jerry dusted the crumbs off of himself. "Why did you do that?" I yelled. "What? You told me to stop him. You didn't give me any context. I thought maybe he was stealing or something." Bart, reasonably, hadn't had the wherewithal to properly prepare for being knocked off his feet. He had hit his head against the ground hard enough to leave a lump and ring his bell, but he was conscious. Groaning and disoriented but conscious. I found Bart's cell phone underneath a pile of crushed pigskins and ripped bags, held my hand over the phone's light, and asked, "How many fingers am I holding up?" "3? 3 fingers? That's right," I said before turning off his phone's flashlight and stuffing it into my hoodie pocket. "You're gonna be fine." "Hey!" he sputtered. "What are you doing with my phone?" Abram answered for me, "Can't risk letting you turn on the screen and paint a target on our asses. That goes for everybody. You all here? No electronics. No Game Boys or gizmos. No flashlights except for these. They're attracted to white light." Bart looked like he was going to make it through without any lasting damage, so I turned my attention back to more pressing matters. I need to find a way to get in touch with the sheriff and let her know. Right then, we heard it. The low, piercing, continuous whine floating on the wind all the way from town. It sounded like the swan song of a dying titan. An eerie portent of things to come. No matter how many times I hear them, I will never get used to the tornado sirens. Abram chuckled, Sounds to me like she already knows. Damn. I was really hoping you were wrong about this. So was I. Hey, sorry about Bill Goldberging you, Jerry said, offering his hand to Bart. The man on the ground hesitantly took it and let Jerry pull him to his feet. I still have to deliver. Bart wobbled. Jerry grabbed him by both shoulders and stabilized him. WHY, what happened? WHY, is she a fox? Why are you both doctors? What hit me? Are these pork rinds? What's going on? I sighed, then started. In our town, once every 5 years, the bugs come. By the time I finished explaining it all for the second and, hopefully, last time, the mood of the room had drastically changed. Lucy and Jerry were sitting at the booth by the window, sharing a 6-pack of White Claw. Abram was leaning against the counter, rolling himself a cigarette. And poor Bart was back on the ground, sitting cross-legged, holding an ice bag against the back of his head and staring out the taped-up window at his delivery van on the other side. The only sound was the steady wailing of far-off tornado sirens and the occasional slurp of a drink. Nobody was looking in my direction, and part of me wondered if anyone had been listening at all, or if I'd just retold the whole story for nothing. "Any questions?" I asked. Lucy perked up like the idea that just struck her was electrified. "Oh my God. What about the trick-or-treaters?" "There aren't any. Our town outlawed them a long time ago," I answered. "No offense," said Bart. "But your town kinda sucks." "None taken. Look, if I don't get these deliveries on time," he didn't finish his sentence. Something stopped him. It was subtle, nearly imperceptible at first. Abram put away his rolling tobacco. Jerry and Lucy looked up at me. There was another noise, growing louder. We could feel it. And it was moving. Fast. Coming for us. The ground shook like this was some kind of earthquake, and we slowly, carefully, gravitated into a group by the front door. Morbid curiosity propelling us upstream against common sense and wisdom. The sky outside was already dark, but whatever light remained disappeared like a candle flame being snuffed out. Lucy pressed her flashlight into the glass. I did the same. The parking lot out front was ominously still. A few gas pumps. A delivery van and garbage truck at the edge of the lot. A single car about 10 feet away. All bathed in red light. And then, all of a sudden, the dam burst. An enormous buck sprinted out of the woods and across the lot in front of us. It leapt over the hood of Lucy's car and continued into the woods on the other side of the lot. Before we could react, 2 more deer sprinted into the lot, followed by 4 more. It was a stampede of them, running for dear life, trying to get away before it was too late. The ground was vibrating now. Crashing noises like trees falling over drowned out the tornado sirens. There were booms and breaks, reverberations and tearing, and somewhere in the mix, animalistic screams. The edges of the glass door filled and like green ink spilling onto a glass table. The green skittered and flowed and combined and spread from one side to the other. Soon, the only space free of bugs was a hole in the center, the size of a beach ball. Then the size of a dinner plate. Then the size of a penny. Then, the entire door was covered by a solid wall of millions of crawling green legs. Bart was right behind my shoulder when he whispered, "Give me my phone. I want to film this." Abram didn't mince words. "I will kill you." Lucy pulled her flashlight away from the window, reached into her pocket, and retrieved her keys. "What are you doing?" I asked. "I want to check on something." She pressed a button on her car fob before we could stop her. The short beep-beep of her vehicle marked the explosion of bugs from the front of the door, all taking flight at the same time. With the glass clear, I immediately saw why. She had used her key fob to remotely engage her car's headlights, and for the briefest of moments, we all saw exactly how bad the swarm was. The worst blizzard in history had nothing on this. We were inside a green snow globe inside a green dust storm inside a celestial haze of green and black television static. The insects flowed in pure chaos, churning like white water rapids. The only organization being a general frenetic attraction to the car, and in a matter of seconds, they had smothered her vehicle in layers thick enough to be light impenetrable. "Oh my God," she said as the bugs returned to swallowing the glass door of the gas station. "Is it always like this?" "No," I said honestly. "This is much, much worse." We stared at the shrinking window to the chaotic outside. Soon, we would be under the green curtain again. Not like it mattered. The swarm was too thick to see anything. But still, we watched for as long as we could. We stood shoulder to shoulder and watched until the glass was nothing but a squirming, breathing mass of green legs. "We're going to be okay," I told myself. We made it in time. The town was warned. All we can do now is wait it out. Over the sound of the insect storm, I heard one more thing. It sounded almost like a voice. Like someone screaming. A hand slammed into the other side of the door just as I realized what the voice was saying. Help! Open the door! Help us!